Okay, so first we're going to show off the import-export feature. Notice my nice wallpaper. I've changed it again. But going into the game, the import-export button is at the very bottom of the main menu. And when you go into import-export, it gives you the option to import or export files. If you have created maps and edited them, do not press import first. Because if you import files after you've edited them, then it will restore the original, the unedited versions. So make sure every time after you've created files to export them every time before you do anything. Because you want to make sure and save the last version that you did instead of overwrite them with older versions. Unless you made a mistake. But it's easy to fix mistakes in this game, so don't worry about that. But anyway, so when you import games from your phone, that's if you've received them from somebody else or if you've gotten them restored from your computer. Like if you save them to your cloud and then got a new phone, put the game on your new phone, you can import them to your phone from your cloud drive and then import them to the game that way. Also, you can export games so you can email them. Here I'm going to show you in a moment in the file manager, there's a folder called Your PD, and inside that is the file of the maps. So that's those. And now we're going to look at the map editor, which I was supposed to have a screenshot of it on my Kindle here, but my Kindle decided to die on me. So I'm going to have to do it by memory, because this is the part of the video where I'm trying to do my talk through of the features and then video the showing off of the features afterward with a stopwatch so that I can have the video match my talking rather than try to talk to match the video. So here's where it's going to get interesting. Okay, so when you go into the map editor, you go into play, and then you go, the map editor is the bottom right button. And you go in and it'll give you the option to either name a new map or edit one of the maps you've already created. As you can see, I've created 3 already. I'll tell you what they are in a moment. But I'm going to go into the Splurf map, and it gives you this wonderful graphic icon or button style menu. At the very top is the name of your map and what floors it has. What type of floor the current floor is, the level of monsters, and how many monsters it can be maxed at. Now be careful when you're creating a map not to use extreme population carelessly, because when I first built this Splurf map that I'm showing you, I made it extreme and I get wiped out every time. So you have to be careful with doing that with low level floors. But as you can see below that, there are 4 types of monsters that you can have. For this first floor, I've designated to all to be just rats and albino rats. And basically each little button just gives you the option to say one type of monster and whether or not you're done. So that's all there is in that part. Below that, there is weapons. You can designate weapons that you can have there. When you do the pull down of the types of weapons, you can also do an enchantment on the weapons, and you can designate what level they're going to be. Let me go back and show you the enchantments so you can see what type of enchantments you can have. Just scroll up and down that little menu. And then let me show you also the levels. You can have negative level weapons and you can have positive level weapons all the way up to, I think it's 15. But you can have negative level weapons because they'll be cursed or they'll be weaker. But you want to give your player the option to try something out or discard it or waste or remove curse spell on it. Use scrolls of upgrade to fix it because they want it anyway despite it being weaker. But that's something you can do. Armor, you can put glyphs on armor, but let me show you also first the types of armor that you can have, and then I'll show you the glyphs that you can have on it. Scrolling up and down to show you the different types, and then of course you can have levels of armor too, negative numbers as well as higher numbers. The higher numbers in the positive range of numbers are better boosted equipment. Then you can have, is it potions on the top right? Potions. Is it potions on the top right of the screen? See, I can't use my Kindle to cheat. So anyways, potions, you can have potions. As you can see, I've opted to have a lot of healing potions because this is back when I decided to make the level extreme, and I said, oh my god, I'm getting killed too easy. I need to have healing potions all over the place. But you can have a lot of potions. Next is going to be scrolls. I think on the far left here in the middle, you can have scrolls of all different types. I don't know if there's a limit on the number of scrolls and potions that you can have in a floor. I know that there's a limit on rooms. I'm going to go ahead and add a room here. Notice, though, on this first floor that I don't have a shop. The reason that I decided not to have a shop until the second floor is because I had thrown so much loot in the first floor that I would be picking up all this stuff and I would need to be selling a bunch of it by the time I got to the second floor. So I did that on purpose. Most people would say, no, I want there to be a shop on the first floor. That's fine. But also take note that there's a limit of 4 floors that you can have. You can specify on a given floor. 4 types of rooms that you can have on a given floor. Next is going to be seeds. I opted for a lot of fire bloom and ice cap seeds because I wanted to say, oh, I want there to be a lot of mystery meat that you have to cook or freeze in order to eat. So I wanted to make sure there was going to be plenty of fire bloom seeds and ice cap seeds. Next on the very bottom left is going to be wands. Yes, wands is in the bottom left. You can again have boosted wands or cursed and weak wands. There's no enchantment on wands. And in the middle, I think, is... What is in the middle of the bottom row? I don't remember. Something or other. I'm showing it to you right now. I can't remember what the middle bottom button is, but it's on the screen right now as I'm speaking. In the bottom right is other objects. And this is where you get into the really interesting stuff. The ankhs, the gold, the foods, keys, special skeleton keys, and stuff like that. Now let me go back and show you the different maps that I have. I have the Splurf map, which is what I just showed you. It's basically only 2 floors. They're both regular sewer floors with pretty easy monsters. But the other map I have is a depth 1 map. It's basically, that's the bottom one, I think. That is 1 of each type of floor. Oh, and another thing I wanted to point out, let me go into the depth 1 map and show you one of the boss monster floors. You cannot specify rooms in boss monster floors because basically a boss monster floor is going to be your landing room and the boss monster's room, and that's it. That's the only thing that can be on those floors. So it ghosted out the floors button for that level. The fidget spinner is basically like the Splurf map, just it's different types of floors, but it's always nothing but rats and albino rats. It's just simply a playthrough of nothing but go running around, kill monsters. It's like a match 3 game type map. It's the just for the sake of doing something to burn off nervous energy when you have your phone and nothing to do. No real goal. You're just there to wander around the dungeon, map it out, and kill monsters. But depth 1 is literally the whole game with 1 floor of each type. So that gives you 10 floors. It's floor of each type and boss monster floor of each type. And that is the map editor. So you save these maps, and as I showed you earlier, you can save them to a folder and export them so that you can send them to your cloud server and email them to friends or upload them, whatever you want to do. And that is the part where I do the talking first and make the video based on a stopwatch count of my talking. Those are the 2 segments. I did them together. So now we're going to show off gameplay with timestamps of the video being done beforehand. Showing off my Lemmy Kilmister Funko Pop thing. The famous bass player singer from Motorhead, including a picture of Snaggletooth on the back of the box. No, everyone else... Yes, it's a dog barking. Why does he have to bark every time I want to speak? You know, if I talk over the dog, maybe you won't hear the dog. What an idea. Everyone, officially, I think they call this Warpig. I don't like to call him Warpig because the name Warpig is taken by Black Sabbath. So I don't think of him as Warpig because that's a Black Sabbath thing. I think of him as Snaggletooth. Look at those teeth, all cracked and broken. Okay, so, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about gameplay tracking. Why do they keep showing me this crap? We know that this game is a lie. Okay, stopwatch. Start now. Okay, in gameplay, this is a normal dungeon. There's no easy mode, there's no hard mode, there's no real cheats in this version of the game. It's just straight play of the dungeon. Now this is, I did set this up, this is the Splurf map, which means it's only 2 floors. So strangely enough, you're going to meet the sad ghost in a moment. At 27 seconds, there's a sad ghost. He sends you off to find the defeated rat, I think, first. So normally in regular 26 level dungeons, you don't meet the sad ghost until floor 2. So I gotta elevate this somehow because I keep getting the light on it. I got this to ramp it up a little bit. Will that stay? No. Have we got like a wedge pillow or something I can use? Okay, so here we're about to find something interesting. The Pixel Mart is here. Not on the landing room. Actually, this is the stairs down room, oddly enough. But unlike Skillful Pixel Dungeon, the Pixel Mart is not on the landing room. I try to buy some stuff and find out that I haven't got any gold yet. Surprising because, well, so far I play Skillful Pixel Dungeon in easy mode, which means you start the game with some gold. Normally, you start the game with 0 gold. None. Okay, so I go running around, not buying anything, thinking I have to kill monsters and find loot in order to have gold. So I go around cutting some stuff. And surprisingly enough, I find the defeated rat. I'm not sure if that happens now or in a couple of seconds, but... so I found the defeated rat, and the defeated rat kills me. This is only level 1. So, yeah, it's a tough game. So I'll start over and start running around. It's a different dungeon. Notice, randomized dungeon thing. Find the sad ghost again. This time he tells you to find the dried rose, which eventually you just find out that you get it's a drop from some of the monsters that you kill on that same floor. If you decide to do the sad ghost quest, it always has to be done on that same floor. So I'm running around killing rats to see if I can find the red rose. I think I find it here, about here. And then I start looking for the sad ghost to get the armor or weapon, whichever. But much to my surprise, in a moment, how long is that moment going to be? Right about now, I get killed by a normal rat. What gives? Well, you're wearing a t-shirt for armor. So give it a rest. Okay, so here we start a third game, and we find a sad ghost again, and a seed pouch. How surprising. Then I've got a lot more time here. So now I talk about things like the sad ghost, which is normally found on level 2, but in this, because it's a Splurf map, only 2 floors in it. You see I talked about that in the map editing portion of the video. That it's only got 2 floors, so the sad ghost appears earlier. If I were to get through the 2nd floor, I would suddenly be on the floor with the amulet of Yandor, and the game would be over. So I've got some more time, playing through. Surprisingly enough, I think probably I'm avoiding rats by now. But yes, I've got a whole another 50 seconds of gameplay before I'm done with this part. So now is when I can talk about my Funko thing of Lemmy Kilmister, the bass player and singer from Motorhead. On the back of the box is Snaggletooth. I call him Snaggletooth. Most people call him Warpig, but Warpig is a Black Sabbath thing. He should have a unique nickname, unique to Motorhead. And it's Snaggletooth. Look at him. Okay, so that's enough showing that off. Okay, so here I'm about to get killed by a normal rat again. And it's coming up. And boom! Okay, tutorial playthrough. This is where you play through the game with tutorial mode. There you find a banner message. That happens a lot in the game. There's going to be banners pretty much every time you do something new. And yeah, they're going to be informative and tell you about everything. Here is where I find a sign in every room type. Every time you get into a new type of room, and every time you pick up scrolls or unidentified items, it's going to tell you about the items if they're already identified, or what you should do in order to find out what they are. You see there's going to be several banners with each type of scroll that I pick up. In fact, there's multiple items on the floor. Oh, that's a banner whenever you try something new. So I haven't gotten to the part where I walk into a room and there's a sign in the room. Yes, there's different things. There's signs and banners. You can run into a lot of banners and signs. Every time you walk into a new room type, which I do right about now, there's going to be a sign in that new room type. So every time you walk into a new room type. So it tells you about the game you're playing. It tells you about how to play it. Now I've got a lot of time on my stopwatch. I've got until 2:17 before I use the magic mapping scroll. So I'm probably picking up a whole bunch of scrolls here and wondering, what about this? What about this? What about this? And a banner comes up every time to tell you that you've got multiple items on the floor, what to do with certain types of scrolls that are already identified. And the game is endless like that in tutorial mode. That it tells you about every single thing. It's not a whole lot easier to play, but it is informative. So if you need to learn about the game, specifics that you think you know but you're not sure you understand or not sure you feel comfortable talking about, play this tutorial mode. It'll explain a lot to you. And we're at 2:08 now. I keep looking over like I'm supposed to be able to see what I'm looking at, but I don't actually have the video in front of me, so I don't know. And here is where I use the magic mapping scroll, which is kind of nice because I hadn't done much roaming on that floor. So I get to learn about the entire floor that way. But anyway, so that's that. Yes. Well, actually that turned out to be not as easy as I expected. Doing the video of showing off the map editor after having talked about it, using stopwatch notation again, still turned out to be pretty challenging. That was, and of course, as you can see in some of the footage, I kind of jumped the gun and just said, you know what, I'm tired of waiting for this moment to happen. So just go ahead and go into this menu and wait for it. So I need more practice with that. I am getting a little bit better with the talking with gameplay for a video I'd done beforehand. Because the gameplay, I filmed the video of the gameplay first, then I got the stopwatch notation of it, and then I did the talk of it. The first couple of times I did it, I don't know if you remember in the prepping for it, I think I did a segment of it, and it turned out horrible. Or maybe I just ended up not uploading that video. Anyway, the first time I did commentary on gameplay with stopwatch notation really, really turned out awful. This time, it turned out quite a bit better, but my reverse trick of doing the commentary first and then making the video based on the stopwatch notation of my commentary turned out to be not nearly as guaranteed effective like I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be an easy cakewalk of, all I got to do is do the talking points, because then I'm consistently talking to the camera, not having to sit there and look at a sheet and go, well, when do I do this? And when do I do this? Do I wait for... No. But then it turned out to be just as challenging to do it that way, because when I was sitting down there making the video that was going to be over here, I was sitting down there with the stopwatch page saying, press, hope my phone can keep up, press, wait, press, So it still turned out to be a bit of a challenge. Again, I'm going to have to work on this. I'm probably going to do another practice run before I do my final effort, because this turned out to be quite challenging. As you saw, I did 3 segments, and I filmed them in 3 different seats, or sittings. So it allowed me to be fresher for each take of the segment of the video, but it added a level of complexity in editing, which I went ahead and did all the editing before sitting down to do this conclusion, because I wanted to say, okay, how did it turn out before I do my conclusion of, it was good, it was better, but I still have a lot of work to do. I still need a lot of practice, not so much rehearsal, but just I need to do several more tries. So I need to do a couple more things. I could probably just do a couple of playthroughs of different Pixel Dungeon games just to say, get my chops up to speed. It'll be easier to think. But this one was especially challenging, and I intended for it to be challenging because I wanted to do the 2 different styles of recording. 1, video beforehand, and 2, video afterward. Both of them turned out to be better than the first time I did it, but still in need of work. So I've got several games I can play. There's a new one called Serenity Pixel Dungeon, but I think I'd rather show off Shattered Pixel Dungeon, because he's got much more recent developments. Actually, Remixed Pixel Dungeon just came up with a new update. I may want to show that off. Do some comparisons to an existing game. So yeah, I need more practice. A lot more practice. I mean, this was... I call it better. You'd probably look at it and say, God, that was still horrible. But if you ever see the original first time I did this, it was even far worse. So this is an improvement, and the only way to go is up.